Let's examine the happy baby a little bit more closely. For this position, I always like to use a bolster just for comfort. It helps to make this pose a lot more accessible for a lot more people, and it also enables you to stay there for a much longer period of time and be able to reside there quite comfortably. And so you're going to have the bolster underneath your shoulders and your neck and your head. So not just your head, your shoulders, your neck, and your head. Because the idea here is it's going to bring your shoulders and therefore your hands much more further up towards your feet. And so as you reach up and grab hold of those feet, that's quite comfortable. Now, I personally like to place my thumb from the top in between the first and second toe, with my fingers then wrapping over the sole of my foot. So then my thumb, second toe, and first toe, big toe, then start to sort of cup it a little bit. And that enables me to keep my feet a little bit more flexed, and I find this a very comfy position to stay in. Of course, find your own position. Maybe you want to grab the outside edge of the foot, or maybe even the inside edge of the foot, whatever is going to work for you. If you're having trouble in this position, feel free to bring the soles of the feet together, and you can always just come into this position, particularly if you just need a rest for a moment as well. And then if you're really having trouble, you can also do this up against the wall. Now, before I show you the wall position, I'll just discuss through some points of compression. And so a place that you might get a little bit of compression is between your ASIS or the AIIS, anterior superior iliac spine, or the anterior inferior iliac spine, which is your part of your ilium, your pelvis, and the femur bone. And it's just because it's pressing straight into it, so you might get a little bit of compression point there and you can't get too much further. So then just by opening those knees out wider, you're getting around that compression point there. That's really going to be it. So far as compression points, you don't necessarily want to have discomfort in your lower back. So if students have that, I would try and look for an easier variation, in particular up against the wall. So to remove any discomfort in the back, it's most likely from a flexed spine, so a little bit of a rounded spine. So then you just have to try and help them find more of a neutral spine. So you'll do this up against the wall then. And so you'll be about the length of your shin away from the wall. So my bum and my hips are about from my knee to my heel away from the wall. So if you find that variation, it's almost like you're kind of like sitting in a chair up against the wall. So you find that alignment. And then from here, allow those feet to turn out to the side and allow the knees to open out to the side. And you're going to get a position more like a frog pose. And so this is the position you're going to come into. If you really want, you can bring it up further against the wall and take it more into a happy baby. But I find it tricky to hold this position for longer periods of time. And then that sort of variation on your frog pose becomes much more comfortable and palpable for your students to maintain for a longer period of time. Still getting this really deep opening in that inner thigh. This changes it more definitely into the liver pathway, going through that inner thigh. But just try to make sure those heels are pretty much in line with the knees now. Toes are turning out and knees are dropping out. Compression point here might be in the outer hip. You might need to experiment with how far the hips are away from the wall, so you then bring them closer or further away. Or if you're really having trouble, you can place something underneath the knee, a couple of blocks, or a bolster or something, and it's just going to stop those knees dropping out and getting those compression points in the outer hip. Again, the compression point is going to be your femur bone, the greater trochanter pressing into the out of the hip, which is the acetabulum, which is the acid, what do they call it? The acid cup. That's what it means. And it's part of the pelvis. It's that cup that sticks out on the side of the ilium bone, the two wings that make up the pelvis. In your actual happy baby pose, you're also going to get into your liver as well, whilst you're in that variation. We're also going to get into our outer hip a little bit. And so as you're drawing the knees down, you might start to feel something coming around the outer hip round here. And this is going to be into your glute med area. And this is also glute med and glute max. And you're going to be getting into the gallbladder pathway in that instance. So you could use this for either. And again, if students are having difficulty, soles of feet together, just resting, or you could even just bring them up against the wall as another variation if they have trouble in that pose. Coming out of it, super easy, just allowing yourself to drop back down and relax. Maybe legs straight, maybe knees spread wide, whatever works for those students. And that's your happy baby pose.